January 20th, 1953. Independence, Missouri. Harry Truman stood on the porch of a small, aging house, fumbling with frozen keys. No motorcade, no applause, no power. 8 years earlier, he had commanded the most powerful nation on Earth. He had authorized the atomic bomb, rebuilt Europe, stared down Stalin, integrated the U.S. military. Now, the former president of the United States had just returned home, almost unnoticed. America believed Truman had left office nearly broke, a man of integrity who refused corporate money, a president who chose dignity over wealth. That story became legend, but what if it wasn't true? To understand how Truman became known as the poor ex-president, we need to go back, long before the White House. In 1922, Truman was a failed businessman. His men's clothing store collapsed during a brutal recession, leaving him deeply in debt. His partner declared bankruptcy. Truman refused. For 15 years, he paid every cent back, sometimes just a few dollars at a time. That experience shaped him forever. He believed in honor. He believed debts must be paid, and he believed public office should never be sold. So when Truman unexpectedly became president in 1945, those beliefs guided everything. He made brutal decisions, dropping the atomic bomb, standing up to the Soviet Union, firing General Douglas MacArthur, desegregating the armed forces even when it nearly destroyed his presidency. By the time Truman left office, he was one of the most unpopular presidents in American history. And yet, something remarkable happened. After returning home, Truman began receiving job offers. Big corporations, Wall Street banks, board positions worth hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. He rejected them all. "I will not commercialize the presidency," Truman said. Instead, he claimed he was struggling financially, unable to afford repairs on his home, barely surviving on a modest military pension. The public was shocked. How could America allow a former president to live like this? Outrage followed. In 1958, Congress passed the Former President's Act, granting pensions, office funding, staff, and lifelong benefits. Truman was praised as a man of principle. Case closed. Decades later, historians began digging deeper, and what they found changed everything. Truman wasn't poor, not even close. Records revealed that when Truman left office, his net worth was roughly $650,000, the equivalent of over $6 million today. He owned his home outright. He had income from land, investments, and family property. Most controversially, Truman had quietly saved large portions of a presidential expense account, money Congress allocated for official entertaining, with little oversight. It was legal, but ethically questionable. Even the famous story of his memoirs was misleading. Truman claimed a $600,000 book deal barely earned him anything after taxes, but later analysis showed heavy expense deductions and creative accounting. The image of the struggling former president was carefully constructed, convincing, emotional, and extraordinarily effective. So was Truman a fraud? Not entirely. He truly believed corporations buying former presidents was wrong. He believed dignity mattered more than profit. In his mind, a government pension was honorable. Corporate money was not. But instead of arguing honestly for that principle, Truman told a different story, one that made him a symbol of sacrifice. And that story reshaped history. Today, every former U.S. president receives generous pensions and benefits, even those worth tens or hundreds of millions, a system born from Truman's narrative. So, what's the truth? Harry Truman wasn't a saint, and he wasn't a villain. He was human, capable of courage and compromise, integrity and manipulation, honesty and principle, dishonesty in presentation.
He saved lives. He made terrible choices. He stood firm when it mattered and bent when it benefited him. And maybe that's the real lesson. History isn't made by perfect heroes. It's made by flawed people who tell powerful stories. The question isn't whether Truman lied. The question is this: do we want leaders who pretend to be virtuous, or ones who admit they're human?